Alright, welcome to Jim's Guitar Garage. On this episode, we're going to be installing this Gretsch Bigsby with a Towner downbar system on this Gretsch 6228 FM. Okay, so one of the first things we need to do is we're going to remove this strap button, and then we're going to loosen the strings, and we're going to take the strings off and take the old bridge off. So let's get to it. I can get this package open. There we go. All right, let me see if we can move things around here. We'll get you a little bit better view. So the Towner bar comes with all these components. You've got your wires, you've got your center roller, and you've got these two pieces, and there's also this adapter right here. Hopefully you can see that. So this you would use on a normal Bigsby, but since we have the Gretsch Bigsby, it doesn't have that oval slot. So normally this would go in an oval slot. Let me see if I can get the white level up a little bit better here. There we go. Yeah, so most of your Bigsbys, if you get either a B3 or B6 or whatever, come like this, but this is actually the Gretsch designed one. So it comes without that big oval slot that's normally right here. So we're not going to need that for this one. So all you do after you roll the piece onto your guitar so you can lose it. Alright, so all you do is you take this roller part right here. I'm not sure what it's called in the instructions, but if you do want to read this, the Towner bar comes with a complete set of instructions and shows you how to install everything. The only thing it doesn't tell you how to do is there's studs that are in here. I'll show you these real quick. We're gonna do this in the video. So you have these little right here, hopefully you can see these little rivets that are going to go in all of these slots right here. So it's not shown in the instructions, but there is a QR code that you can see right here, and you just scan that and it takes you to the video to show you how to do it, but we'll do it in this video to make it a little easier. Alright, so you put these pieces together, you put the two wires in here, one on each end, pretty simple, and then all you do is hook that right into these. And then you simply take your original posts, and this Gretsch one does not fit, so we're going to have to find some replacement posts. So we'll be back. Alright, welcome back to Jim's Guitar Garage. It's a few weeks later. We're kind of back to where we were at that time. Let me get out my micrometer real quick. So these came in. There's a set of them. These are the new studs for the Towner down bar. And just so you know, if you are going to switch Go ahead and turn this on. So these are the original studs in here. Let me make sure that's zeroed out. Yep. These are 0.2840, basically 0.29. I've already got one installed, so it is the same thread pattern. So these are the metric ones. So on their website, when you go to order it, it says if it's not a Gibson, order the metric. One of the things you can do to make sure that your threads match, besides getting one of those thread match little plates, you can actually just put your threads together and then just hold them up to a light and see that they all line up. So that one's already installed, so we know that they work. So again, that one was 0.2860 inches. This one is about 0.2480. So it's less than the 0.260 recommended by Towner themselves. So this one's going to work with the down bar, or with the let's see, what is that piece actually called? I'm not even sure if I still have the instructions for that, but it works with these. Let me show you them right here. So we'll try one before we go to put it in. So for those of you who might have picked this up in the middle, we're converting this from this old V stop tail that originally came in, and we're putting this Bigsby on. So basically these, I don't know if it's a cuff or whatever they call it, slides right in here. If you try it on the original one, it does not fit. So you either have to go to a machinist, have this ground down or whatever. I think these are, I think it was only about $7 a pair or something like that, if I remember right. But go ahead and check out Towner's website. I'll put a link at the bottom. And basically all you do to make this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one side on and then I'm going to put the other stud in. So you basically take your center bar, and the instructions are in here. Also, you put this like this, you slide this in here, so you've got your little down bar thing here built, and then you put the cuff on, or you can also hold on, let's do something smart here first, because we're going to be doing a lot of things to this guitar. This is what I like to do before I mess with anything, especially if you've got a nice flame maple top. Always protect your guitar, whether it's with a one of these Fender style cloths or some blue tape. And we're gonna, when we install that Bigsby, it might be clanking on here a little bit, so we kind of want to protect this whole area. I like to use this blue painter's tape. There's also that the frog tape, the green tape, which is just as good, if not better. I think it's a little actually less sticky and leaves less residue than this, but this is just a regular Scotch blue painter's tape. Nothing fancy. Let me back that off just a little bit from the stud there. All right, we should be good there. So I'm just going to install one of these here, and then we'll put this in here, and then I'm not sure if this is going to work. I might have to bring the other side up a little bit, which yes I do. So the instructions, I believe, tell you to put it together and then screw these down equally together. But I just had that one down in there just to make sure it would fit. All right, so now we've got, and this thing is fairly flexible. It can rotate around, and hopefully we don't get it pinched while we're putting this in. And I spoke too soon. All right, so we need to back this one off and follow it like their instructions say, because we don't want to ruin any threads either while we're doing this. Hopefully I'm not blocking, trying not to block too much of this. But basically all we're doing now is we're just putting these studs in. Let me back this one out a little bit more. Putting them in evenly, so you're just going to turn it a few turns and then go to the next one.
Alright, so we're just going to crank this in slowly. A couple times each time. So nice and even.
And I'm just going to bring it all the way down for now, or pretty close. They say to basically bring it where it's just above, or just below your saddles on your bridge. But I think for this one it's going to be pretty much all the way down, and that actually should be good. And you can adjust this to your liking depending on how much tension you like on your Bigsby. I'm actually going to bring this up a little bit. Yeah, and I can always mic it to make sure that it's fairly even across the both sides. All right, so that part's in. So then last week we had the end pin out, or the last time we were recording when we were working on this guitar, we had this end pin out, but I ended up putting it back in. So we're gonna go ahead and get that out. If you haven't seen my other videos regarding some of the tools that I use, I highly recommend this little tool. It is from Nomad. Hopefully you guys can see that. I don't know if you guys can read it, but it's just got a bunch of different sizes, and let me see, I have a new one in here just as a backup. It is called the Octopus. So it's an 8-in-1, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to use this tape in here. And then we're going to be replacing this stud behind here with a 2-inch. So I believe this is a 1 1/4, maybe 1 1/2 inch. The one that came with these. It actually came with this guitar because these shallow type locks were already installed on here from the factory. This is I believe I covered it in the first part of this video, but this is a G6228 FM. And it's the player series. So the player series usually has like some of the upgrades like locking tuners, and it has the strap locks and stuff, and I believe it has a what's the word I'm looking for? The RC circuit in here for so you maintain your high end as you turn it down. I forget the name of it right now. Okay, so we've got that off. So the next thing we want to do, according to the instructions here, is we've got several things. So I will pull out these instructions, we'll follow them. So what we're going to do basically is we're going to put some, get this thing right here. I think we're going to take the guitar down for this next step. We are in a normal Bigsby, or the non-Gretsch Bigsby. You have 4 studs back here. So hopefully you can see that. This one has 3 with a point, and then it's got the one for the center where your strap pin goes. And here's the longer. Well, let's do a comparison so you guys can see. Pull this one out of here. So because you've got all that Bigsby weight on, you know, you're gonna have that Bigsby on there, and you're gonna have all that pressure. So there's the difference between your 2 screws. You can see this is, yeah, that was probably about 1 inch, and this one is a full 2-inch screw to hold that Bigsby in and all that string pressure, because now that string pressure is on your end pin where it normally isn't. So anyways, you've got these 4 studs, and if you follow the directions, it shows you right in here. You basically, there's a video also, so if you follow the directions in here, it's gonna actually got a QR code link that'll take you to a video, and then it will show you how to install these. And then what you're going to do on the back side of it, the side that goes against the guitar, is you're going to put these little foam pieces. The other thing they recommend is on here, we're going to move this up to here, because the way we're designing this and the way this top is, it's gonna rub. So let's see, I guess we can use this one. So hopefully you guys can see this. Let me move it back a little bit. I'm gonna move this guitar a little bit, and I'm probably gonna end up moving it out of the way in just a minute. Just so we don't damage it. Actually, let's go ahead and pull these strings off. And then last week, or after the last video shooting, I actually did a full setup on this guitar. For those of you who don't know, some of you might have watched the channel for a while, you might know, but originally I was in just outside of Hilo, Hawaii, so the humidity and obviously the temperature is a lot different than it is here, so almost all of my guitars kind of went a little wacko when we moved over here. So I've had to adjust pretty much all of them, which is why I'm glad I finally have this setup. I should have made a quick video on me building this thing, but this is a there's pretty much the same thing from whether you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, Harbor Freight. They all have this fairly similar desk. I think it was about $200. So this just happens to be the Cobalt one, but they're basically the same. It's got a little storage up above here where you cannot see that's out of the camera, and it's got 3 doors below, and it fits this Mr. Power work mat almost perfectly. We've got a few extra inches off the end, probably about 3 inches or so. So it's a great workstation. All right, so I'll be back. I'm gonna go grab the vise. All right, our vise of the day happens to be an Irwin. That should work. Maybe I'll get another 2x4. All right, so what you want to do is you want to protect your Bigsby. So we're putting 2 pieces of wood on, one on each side, and then you're just going to slide these in. Push them down, and then just drop this in here, and then you're just going to crank on the vise. Let me get this a little bit further, and then we can crank on it some more. And you want to try to get it as close to the middle as you can, and back that off a little bit. We've actually got the hinge part in there. All right, hopefully you guys can see this. And like I said, they have a video, yeah, right about there. So you're just gonna crank this down till those are nice and compressed in there. All right, let's take a look. These ones are still a little, still need a little bit of, they're starting to go, but they're just, you know, they're not falling out now. So you can see it's going to sit there nice like that. And then, sorry, there we go. And then what you're going to do, like I said, is you're going to put these little felt washers on the back of those so they don't, you know, scratch your guitar. But let's finish up with this and then we'll be back. Alright, so when you're done, it should look basically like that. Then you're going to take these Velcro pieces, cover up those. Alright, one of the other things that I can't stand about Bigsby's, let's get this out of the way. Is this right here, this pin bridge. So we're going to change that. Let's put these tools back in here, these parts for now. So before we even install this, we're going to change that. So what I have done, let me find it here. I think this is it right here. Is I've done this mod on several of my guitars. So I have one. Hopefully you guys can see this clearly. So if you take the pin out and you put this in a vise, and then you have a drill press where you pop these out, you can just drill all the way through. And what I did on the other side is I drilled some countersink holes. Hopefully you guys can see that. So there's a countersink hole, so the ball at the end of the string will fit inside there. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop this out. I'll show you how to do that. You guys should have it in camera view. And then we'll move on to the next step. Let me see, did this Bigsby come with the Allen wrench? I don't believe it did. So we have our Allen wrench set right here with metric and standard. So this should be standard, but we will find out. And then what you're going to do, there's a pin here. So you can see it right here. So that is going to go through this piece right here. And you're just going to take that out. We'll swap this out. All right, let's go ahead, get the size on this. Should be this one right here, I believe. It is a standard. It's been a while since I've done this. That might be metric. Yep. So that is, was that the fourth one up? So that should be a 3 millimeter. And it shouldn't be terribly tight. So you're just going to pull that out. And then your arm's going to come off. side. And you can just take this right off. Set that back over here. So now you're stuck with this. And in order to get this out, you can see this is hitting it, and then of course your rolled pins are going to hit it. So you want to pull out those rolled pins. So one of the techniques that I've used is a fairly large set of pliers. There's two different types. There's two different types that I like to use to accomplish that, and that's this type right here, and then of course your slip rings. So these are basically more or less like a lineman type pliers. These just happen to be cobalt because, like I said, we just moved here to Tennessee, so all of my regular tools I got rid of before we left instead of trying to ship them. So we're going to go ahead and pull these out one by one. So the technique for this, there's one, that one came out straight, is basically I just grab it head on and then just twist to the side a little bit, and they should come right out pretty easy there. See, there's that one. And of course these are ruined, so if you want to go back to this style again, you're going to have to try and find some of these roll pins, which I'm sure you can probably get at almost any store. This one does not want to come out. There we go. Some of them you can just pull straight out if you got a good enough grip on them, but I usually just twist it just a little bit, just to gives you a little more leverage. And then you can always take this arm, or this right here, and then drill this out for your next guitar if you're gonna do the same mod to another guitar. One left. Always that last one. Come on. There we go. All right, so we've got all of those out. Sorry, you didn't see that. So basically, once you've got all those pins out, you don't even need to pull that snap ring pliers out. You just slide it right out the other side. In. So just take the grease off. You don't have to worry about greasing the metal. You just want to grease where these two bearings are. And if you notice inside here, I don't want to move it too much because I don't want to mess it up, as there's needle bearings in there. So if you drop this, you might have, oh, I don't know, there's probably, are those needle? I think those are. I think this one is a higher grade than the normal Bigsby. So it looks like it's got about 20 on each side, so you're going to be picking up needle bearings for a while. All right, and then we're going to slide that in. Then we go get a rag, wipe off my hands. I got grease all over them. All right, whoops, sorry. Try to knock over the camera. All right, so once that's put in there, we go back to our arm. I'm going to slide that back on. Spin it around to the holes line up. right there. And again, we're going to take that 3mm, put that in there, and you don't need to crank this down. Just got to make it tight. Should take that up a little. There we go. Alright, so we're just putting that in, and it's pretty much going to self-align. Just make it snug. And there you go. Go back to your instructions. And then you are basically just going to put your take your spring out. This actually has the extra screws for these other holes that we just put those studs in, so we don't need those. And then you're going to unwrap your spring. Oh, there's the third one. I wonder where that went to. Pretty much done with that, but I think so that's how you're going to do that, but we're going to save that for later because we've still got to install this. So I'm going to turn the guitar around so you guys have a better view of putting this on, and then we'll install the Bigsby. Alright, so we've got this place cleaned up a little bit. We've got the guitar spun around. Let's move this over to the other bench. One of the things I wanted to do before we do this mod is just to see how much this guitar weighs before we put the Bigsby on. So we've got our little scale here. I'm hoping you guys can read that. If not, I'll read it out for you. I gotta find the balance point on this thing. Alright, so we have 7 pounds, 3.5 ounces. And then we'll try and weigh it this way too. See if it makes a difference. I'm just going to kind of support it. 3.7 pounds, 3.5 ounces. So, alright, 7 pounds, 3.5 ounces. So I'm going to have to write that down. And then we're going to weigh it with the Bigsby on just to see. I'd like to keep this guitar below 8 pounds. All right, let me go ahead and write that down. Seven, 3.5 ounce. All right. So the next thing we're going to do, go ahead and put this away for now. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change that strap pin. So the first thing we want to make sure is that this is designed to work with a Dunlop strap lock. Otherwise we're going to have to get a new type. Gonna be tight. Nope, it does not fit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our little end pin here. We're gonna have to drill that out slightly for this thing to go through it. And then we're gonna drill this hole out a little bit deeper. One of the ways you can check it is either if you have a skinny punch or an awl or like a really small screwdriver like these. These happen to be Craftsman precision, what they call precision screwdrivers. You can, oh, that one's a little too big. So let's see if our they are in here somewhere. Let's see if our electronic screwdrivers will work. And here we are. So you have these type of precision screwdrivers. You can also use one of these. I just want to see how deep the hole is on this thing currently. And this should fit right inside. So we'll get some, again, we got a piece of tape on this side. You can use whatever. Another thing you might want to use is something like this. This is a neck awl. Maybe we'll try that. A little more stable than the so that hole is only as deep as the tip of this, or basically the same depth as this screw. So we're going to want to drill that hole out just a little bit more, because the thread and the size of this thing is quite a bit thicker than the old one. All right, so for this thing, I'm probably going to use my so for this, I'm going to use this handy dandy reamer. And what you want to do is you just want to go back and forth. And it didn't look like there was much that needed to be taken out, but we're going to just slowly ream this on both sides, and try not to do it above your guitar. You don't want to get any metal pieces. You definitely don't want to drop that on your guitar. Alright, we're almost there. So we'll continue with this, and then we'll drill that hole out, and then we'll be back for the install. Alright, today's string of the day will be these Elixir. These are Polyweb 10 to 46s. Personally, I like Elixirs. I also use the Nano Webs. You can see that. And then another favorite is these green Slinkies. Again, 10 to 46. That's what I use on most of my guitars. I do play 9s on some once in a while, but I just prefer 10s even on a Fender length. Even a Fender scale length. It's just kind of what I feel comfortable with. All right, so let's get these strings on here. Let's close that. Now, one of the nice things about having a string through Bigsby now that we've made this into is that you can, hopefully I'm not blocking it, hopefully you can see this. Well, and this one is real easy because you can lift it up, but you're just going to go right through. Pull your string through, go under the new towner bar that we just installed. And once again, this also has the locking tuner, so it makes it even simpler. So we just put it through. For those of you who have a regular Bixby, you might want to consider either doing this mod to your Bixby or If you don't feel comfortable, have somebody else do it. And again, if you don't feel comfortable with anything that you see here, you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself, then you can always have somebody else do it. We're going to make that just slightly tight for now. Now the other side, now obviously on this side you're not going to be able to lift it up. But it's still quite easy. Actually, usually what I do when I do this is, and this is not, you know, the normal way you would normally do this, but we're setting this up. I'm going to loosen this up a little bit. And then I can bend this back a little. Might want to put my glasses on so I can see. Normally what I do is I would put all the strings through and then start, but we're kind of, you know, setting this up and getting it set up for this new bridge, so we can't really tighten it too much either until we put that spring in. So we're going to go ahead, run this down here, then I'm going to go ahead and put the spring in and the washer, just so we'll have a more normal feel to the Bigsby. And we can set it up that way. You want to make sure that your string goes in this right in the groove on the saddle. I'm going to back that off here. And we lock it down. You don't have to make them super tight. You just want to put a little tension on it so it's pulling. So it's aligning the Bigsby straight with these, with your saddles and everything, and then you shouldn't have, see right here, you pretty much got no side to side movement. So then all you're going to do is you're going to come back here, make sure this is looks pretty straight on here, and tighten that up the rest of the way. Then we're going to loosen everything up. We're going to take the tape off and restring it, and then we're done. So we'll be back. Alright, so as you guys can see, we've got her all strung up right now. So nice to have that string through, and like I said, you can make it yourself if you have an extra one, or you can order. I believe I ordered these from the original one I ordered. I believe it was from Callahan. I will put a link below just to make sure. So this is tight. We've still got to tune it up, but one of the things I forgot to mention earlier is now that we have a Bigsby on here instead of the stop tail, we need to lube up the nut and a little bit on the bridge. So this is what I use. You can use whatever. There's, you know, several different brands out there. I just prefer this because it's just the one that I've been using. So all you're going to do is take this, you're going to lift your string up, squeeze just a little bit in there, put it back down, And the nice thing I like about this is if you've got too much, like when I set that down, a bunch of grease came out. So it comes with these things, and I believe ladies use these for makeup and stuff like that too, because I think I've seen my wife with these. And all you're going to do is take one of these, and you can wipe up the excess that just came out. And then you're going to go to the next string, which is a little too tight. So we're going to loosen that. Just pop it out of the nut slot. Go ahead, dab that in there. And then you can use whatever's on this for the next few. So just pop them out. Put it in that slot. And then just keep going basically till you're out. Yeah, this one's a little too tight too. So we just pop those out. Put a little bit of that lubricant in there. And then when you run out, you can either squeeze it in the slot, or sometimes what I do is I just squeeze it right onto this applicator. Make sure you put the cap on so it doesn't dry out. And then we'll hit the last couple strings here. So again, I'm sure you've seen a lot of videos on this. And then all I do is I go back here, same thing. Same thing on the two pneumatic bridge. I'm kind of blocking your view, so you're just going to take that and you're just going to rub it in the groove. So that thing will slide in and out of there, and help prevent some tuning issues. And then we're just going to tune it up. So if you have any questions, we're pretty much done here. I'm just going to tune this up, and then I'm going to probably play it for a few hours. But if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, either through this video or at jimsguitargarage@gmail.com. And if you have any questions about this install or whatever, you can also research it on Towner, and also check out their, they actually have their own version of the Bigsby, which has the, I showed it to you guys earlier, it is up here, that uses this adapter at the back. Like I said, this one I wanted the one that said Gretsch on it, so that doesn't apply to this one, but normally you would just pop that adapter in and use that right here at the end pin jack. But that's pretty much it. So hopefully you guys like it. It does work. But we're going to tune this up, and then we will see you in the next video. All right, aloha. All right, there's one thing we forgot. We've got her all stringed up now. She's in tune for at least the next 3 minutes. I got to stretch the strings and everything, but we said we were going to weigh it after just to see how much. Okay, there we go. So we are at 7 pounds, 13.9 ounces. So we started off at 7 pounds, 3.5 ounces. So we basically added, and it's kind of going between 13.9 and 14. So we basically added about 10 and a half ounces. So not too bad. Still less than 8 pounds. We're a couple ounces away from 8 pounds, so we're all good. All right, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Once again, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and answer, or make a comment or whatever on this video. You can also make a comment in my Instagram, and I am now located in Nashville. So if you need any guitar setup stuff, you want to do a modification like this, go ahead and contact me through Facebook, Instagram, or my YouTube channel. All right, aloha. Thank you for watching.